time. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for spending your Tuesday morning with me. My name is Jenny. I work in Global Technical Learning team under Microsoft Worldwide Learning. And my team work on the content and training content and certification that's covered Modern Workplace. And I'm the owner for this exam that we are going to talk about today, which is MS-700 Managed Microsoft Team. For the agenda today, I will start with the overview for the certification. These will give you an idea on what you can expect when you take the exam. And I will dive into the exam to talk about what you need to know for each exam objective. And I will close with the information and resource for you to take action. My goal today is to give you direction to prepare for the exam. And you can download the slide from the website. Let's get it started. The first one is certification overview. This is an overview of available certification that's under Modern Workplace. We are very excited to share 2 new certifications, which highlight in red. The first one is Microsoft Teams Administrator. That's our focus in this section. And the second one is Microsoft 365 Developer. This also covers some Teams topic. So if you're also the developer, I'll encourage you to take a look as well. The good news here is the Teams Administrator certification is also another option for prerequisite certification for the enterprise admin role. Now, let's take a look at the audience profile. Microsoft Teams Administrator is a brand new role. You may or may not have this role in your organization. This is a leaning forward and might not resonate with your organization. However, this job role was determined based on extensive market research. We see more organizations start to think about it. We have consulted with industry subject matter experts who are working in the field, both inside and outside of Microsoft, to define this futuristic role. So now let's take a look at the definition. Microsoft Teams Administrator configure, deploy, and manage Office 365 workload for Microsoft Teams. That's focused on efficient and effective collaboration and communication in enterprise environments. The Teams Administrator must be able to plan, deploy, and manage all Teams features. The Teams Administrator is also responsible for upgrade from Skype for Business to Teams. And the Teams Administrator collaborates with telephony engineer to integrate advanced voice feature in Microsoft Teams. So let's pause here for a minute. You might think about what is advanced voice feature means here. So during the role discussion, we draw a line that Teams Administrator is not responsible for configure direct routing, SBC section border controller, or integrating telephony. But this role needs to be familiar with those terms and know if the user is using direct routing versus calling plane. Okay? So back to the definition. The team administrator may work with other workload administrator roles, including security and compliance, messaging, networking, identity, and device. The candidate for this exam should be proficient at managing team settings by using PowerShell. Okay. The Teams Administrator has fundamental understanding of integration point with app and services, including but not limited to SharePoint, OneDrive for Business, Exchange, Azure Active Directory, and Office 365 Group. Let's see the learning path for this Teams admin. The 3 dots shows on the screen represent 3 sections in this exam, and each section contains several exam objectives. This is a single exam certification. So once you pass the exam, you will get 2 badges. One is for the exam, and the other is for the credential. Please note that this exam is in the beta at this moment, so you will not get scoring right away. You will get your final score and passing status once the exam goes live. If you want to know more about what is beta exam, there's a blog talk about explaining about the scoring process. You can check the link in the announcement blog post of this certification exam. Okay, now let's dive into the exam itself. You can expect 40 to 60 questions in the exam, depends on the phone you get from the item pool. There's no negative scoring, so please don't leave your answers blank. Just make a guess, Marcus review later, and move on. You have 2.5 hours to answer the question. And since this exam is in beta at this moment, so you have 20 minutes to make your comments. We'd love to hear your feedback to help us to refine the item. Our psychometrician read every single word in the beta exam comments, so we take it seriously. There are a few question types you might get. Besides the multiple question that you guys might be familiar with, you might also get questions like interpretation of graphic, which we give you the screenshot that kind of interpret the data in the screen. And also you might get build list, which we ask to build a sequence of text in a specific order. And once exam go live, you will also get performance-based testing, which will give you the opportunity to demonstrate your skill in a real environment. And the last one, you also get some case study, which multiple questions refer to the same case scenario. There will be a lot of words in the scenario. So the tips here is to review the requirement first, so then you know what information you are looking for in the case study. Now, let's go to the exam overview and objective domain. There are 3 sections with different weight. The percentage here could be a reference to allocate your study hour, but it kind of depends on your experience and knowledge. We have 14 exam objectives in this exam, so there's a lot of stuff need to be covered. This is not a training course, so I won't spend too much time on each topic. I'm not going to provide you with everything you need to know to pass the exam, but I want to give you the idea to prepare for the exam by throwing out a lot of questions. So if there's anything you are not familiar with what I'm going to talk about, I would advise you to put that in your study plan and check out more detail later. Again, you can download the slide after the event, so don't worry about the taking picture. This is what we have in the first section. So it's more about how you need to prepare before you deploy Microsoft Teams, including Skype for Business, networking, governance and lifecycle, management, guest access, security and compliance, and manage endpoint, and so on. So let's take a closer look for each exam objective. First one is upgrade from Skype for Business to Microsoft Teams. When your organization has Skype for Business environment, the very first thing to think about is to upgrade past to Microsoft Teams. Understand 5 coexistence mode to develop upgrade strategy. You may want to start the upgrade path with a small group of pilot users and gradually expand to the whole organization. How would you configure the coexistence mode for the pilot user? What is the PowerShell to use for automation? After you switch the pilot user to Teams-only mode, user might report that the meeting doesn't migrate to the Teams. What are the troubleshooting steps? How would you check the meeting migration status? You also want to understand the user experience. How would you configure the app preference? And whether you will turn on the upgrade notification. The second one is plan and configure network settings for Microsoft Teams. When it comes to chat and IM, most of the stuff works really well out of the box, right? As soon as you turn on video and voice, you got to do some networking. So for a good co-meeting experience, you need to make sure there's a sufficient network bandwidth for audio and video. If there are 5,000 users in headquarters using local intranet and PSTN, how much bandwidth do you need? You need to know how to use the network planner to estimate required bandwidth. Once you configure the port and protocol to connect to Office 365 services, which tool can you use to validate the network? How to read the return from the network testing companion. To optimize the network, you need to know where to enable QoS. What are the different methods to implement QoS based on different devices? Okay, so a lot of questions. Next one, Implement governance and lifecycle management for Microsoft Teams. Assuming you are working in a retail company which has 3,000 stores across the country, and each store needs to have a team with the same channel structure, you probably don't want to repeat the same step to kind of create the channel manually. How would you automate the process by creating team template? And with that skill, how would you control the creation of team? We know team is created based on Office 365 group. There are many features that you can use for team's governance, such as group creation, classification, expiration policy, and naming policy. So same as lifecycle management. How to manage team during different lifecycle stages. If a user accidentally deleted a team a week ago, is there still a way to restore the team? What's the solution here? You need to know what is 30-day self-deletion. So remember, there are some settings which can only done by PowerShell. So this is just an example for your reference. And this is a screenshot shows you the way to create expiration policy and naming policy from Azure AD Admin Center. No, the classification can only be done by PowerShell. Next one, configure and manage guest access. Guest access is a very popular feature which allows users to work with people outside of their organization. I use that a lot personally. As a Teams admin, you need to know where to configure guest access in different places, including Azure AD, Microsoft 365, and Teams Admin Center. If you want to monitor guest usage, you should know how to use Azure AD Access Review. This is a slide of the closer look of the different admin center. You need to know where the settings are in different admin center. If you want to prevent the team's owner from adding guest access to your team, what should you do? Next one is manage security and compliance. Microsoft 365 provides advanced security and compliance capability, including threat protection, information protection, and security management. Let's say now you change your job, you work in the bank. Employees are not allowed to share confidential data in Teams, such as social security number, credit card number. What is the solution here? The Teams admin need to understand when to use and how to apply those features, such as DLP policy, retention policy, sensitivity label, threat management, and information barrier policy. How would you define the segment and information policy with a given scenario? This is the architecture of Microsoft Teams, including dependent services. The Teams admin need to be clear where the data is stored to apply the policy accurately. So for example, the chat message are stored in the mailbox, and the Teams file are stored in SharePoint. So this is a screenshot shows the settings of content location for retention policy and e-discovery. This refers back to the screenshot that I showed about the architecture. So you need to know where the data is stored. This is a setting for sensitivity label and alert policy. You can see available activity that you can set the alerts on. Deploy and manage Teams endpoint. You cannot enjoy Microsoft Teams without its client, right? What are the options to install Teams client for different devices when your organization is ready to make it available for everyone? Which deploy approach requires less effort? And how about device in meeting room? How to set up the device account for Microsoft Teams room? So those are the things you need to be familiar. This is a screenshot of setting configuration profile. You need to be aware of available settings here. Let's say for energy conscious organization, they can enable power saving and set the office hour for the device. Monitor and analyze service usage. Team is a hub for teamwork, so you definitely want to check the user's adoption on Microsoft Teams. There are various usage and dashboard in Microsoft 365 and Teams Admin Center. Let's say if there's a high usage in chat, but drop in the call and meeting, you can check the call quality problem in the call analytics and call quality dashboard. So this is a screenshot of the usage report in Microsoft 365 and Teams Admin Center. Note the time difference. These are the report of call analytics and call quality dashboard. If the user report a poor call quality, which report should you check first? You need to understand the meaning of each report and how to utilize that. So this is the first section of the exam. Now let's look at the second one. Manage chat, calling, and meeting. Microsoft Teams provide a capability to customize user experience by various settings and policy. You can apply different policy to different group of people, including chat, calling, meeting, and collaboration experience. Let's see the first exam objective. So there are various settings which control what user can or cannot do in chat and channel message, such as whether user can edit or delete send message, whether user can chat with people from outside of organization, and how about send email to a channel's email address, whether to allow third-party cloud file storage. Different organizations have different considerations, so familiar with those available settings here. The second one is, this is a settings for messaging policy in Teams Admin Center for chat and channel message. And notice that there's also settings for channel message in Teams client. So let's say if there's a Teams owner want to have announcement channel in the team, which only allows specific member to start the new post, which setting will you use here? And remember to kind of clarify what is different settings in different places and what you need to know based on the scenario you get. So in the exam, there's a lot of scenario. So I'll throw out the question, kind of lead you to kind of start to think about for each settings. This is the external access in Teams Admin Center and external sharing in SharePoint Admin Center. Those are all controlled for external user, but you need to be aware, one is for communication feature, like chat, calling, and meeting. And the other one is for file collaboration. Don't get confused with the guest access, which we just mentioned in the previous section. These are the Teams settings where you can set email integration and cloud file storage. So the next one is manage meeting experience. So these are all about the settings for meeting and live event. So things such as whether to allow anonymous user to join the meeting, whether a user can give or request control, or what is the user experience while dialing into the conference bridge. These are all the features you can customize based on business requirement. So let's take a look for each settings. This is a settings for meeting. You can customize email invitation and enable QoS, and specify the port in this page. This is a setting for meeting policy. There are several pre-built meeting policy, such as restrict anonymous access. You can also create custom policy to accommodate different needs. These are the settings and policy for a live event. In the setting, you can customize the support URL and then whether to use the third-party video distribution provider. You need to be familiar with streaming platform to decide whether to use third-party provider. And for the policy, you can decide when user can join the live event and who can record the event. These are the different roles in live event for your reference. What's the difference between organizer and producer? You need to be familiar with those as well. Manage phone number. So let's say the organization decided to enable calling in Microsoft Teams. And you need to understand different PSTN connectivity solution to decide whether to using Microsoft calling plan or direct routing. And what is the decision criteria? And based on that decision, there are different ways to get a phone number. You can get it from Microsoft or port it from service provider. There are different types of number, including number for user and number for services, like a conference bridge, call queue, auto attendant. As a Teams admin, you need to manage phone number, including assigning, unassigning, or releasing phone number. If you're not familiar with voice feature, I recommend you to read the documentation under Cloud Voice section. Manage phone system. The Teams admin need to be familiar with calling plan and phone system to be able to set a policy. When the customer calls the support hotline, how does the call being handled? How to configure resource account with voice feature, such as call queue, auto attendant. There are various of voice policy that you can customize as well. And you can change the display phone number when call is met. So that is call ID, right? When a user reports an issue of drop call, you will check the direct routing health dashboard to identify the potential issue. So these are the settings for configuring call queue. What are the options for routing method? And what is the difference? These are the settings for configure auto attendant, things such as how to redirect the call, set up menu and creating. You need to be clear on when to use call queue versus auto attendant. This is a screenshot for different voice policy, things such as put a call on hold or transfer to others, restrict others from making a private call. So take a look at each policy and get familiar with it. This is a direct routing health dashboard. What does those warning mean? You need to interpret the report and identify the potential issues. So far, we have prepared for the Teams environment, and we also set up the policy for user experience. It's time for us to move to the teams, lowercase. So the section is Manage Teams and App Policy. Once your organization enable Teams for the user, you need to know the difference mean to create the teams other than UI, such as PowerShell or Breath API. And if the organization want to integrate team with existing resource, such as distribution group, Office 365 group, and SharePoint team side, you need to know how to groupify and how to teamify. And when the user report an issue that team doesn't show up in the search result, the team's privacy level come into the picture. These are different type of team. There are different types of team: public, private, and org-wide. Understanding the limitation of each type and knowing the way to convert existing team to org-wide team are also essential. So after the team got created, let's talk about the managed membership in the team. As a company, you want to ensure active user can access the team. Thus, adding the new or remove user who left the company are the basic. You can done it by Admin Center or by PowerShell. Besides manage user manually, the user list can be synced on the user attribute in Active Directory, such as department. You should know the way to automate the membership by creating a group with dynamic user and how to set up dynamic membership rule. Further, the company wants to restrict the access to the team name strategy to managers only. You need to know how to use access review to manage the membership. So implement policy of Microsoft Teams apps. This is things such like know where to block the uploading custom app and where to block third-party apps. So if the company only allowed developer to do sideloading, how would you configure the policy here? And if the company wants to ping the new custom app to the app bar for support teams only, the teams admin need to know how to create the team setup policy and assign to those support teams. This is the app permission policy. Now, there is org-wide teams app settings other than the global settings. And what is the dependency? So these are all the exam objectives that we will cover in the exam. So familiar with those topics will be very helpful. So now let's take a try for the practice question. If you haven't taken the exam before, this is a typical question you might get. Anyone want to make a guess for this? So your company is headquartered in Chicago and has office globally. The company has significant Skype for Business server on-premises access with complex enterprise voice deployment. And the company wants to accelerate the ability of modern meeting capability, such as transcription and translation for pilot user as soon as possible. And you are planning to migrate to Microsoft Teams for pilot user. Your solution must be accomplished with the least amount of administrative effort. Which following PowerShell would you run? Anyone want to make a guess? Number 5. That's right. So this is a table kind of show you the available clients with each feature based on different Coexistence mode. So the answer, yes, is the Skype for Business with team collaboration and meetings. And the answer is the last one. Good call. So if there is a slide to cover what we have talked about so far, there will be this one. I encourage you to get the environment and get familiar with each admin center, not only for the Teams admin, but the M365, certificate compliance, and Azure AD admin center as well. And keep in mind, there's some configuration can only be done by PowerShell. Okay. And this is the expansion view of settings in Teams admin center. They are around 30 pages. I know that's a lot. I encourage you to spend some time to understand and get familiar with each settings. Now let's move on to how to prepare. So we have talked about what's been covered in the exam, so now it's the resource for you. Microsoft offers a comprehensive collection of training options to empower technical professionals. Everyone has different learning style. As you're geared up to get certified, choose the modality that works best for you. We have digital skilling through Microsoft Learn. It's a free interactive way of learning with a short step-by-step tutorial. We also have instructor-led training through a learning partner, which offers a deep technical learning to help you get ready. There are also training events to provide unique upskilling experience, like Ignite here, and also Airlift if you guys join. However you choose to learn, we are very excited to provide a solution that fits your life and jumpstart your career. For the resource to prepare for the certification, you can go to the URL here. This will give you the exam objective that we just talked about, and also the training material for your reference. We have 2 learning paths in the Microsoft Learn that's available today. And for the instructor-led training, they will be available early December. And for the practice test, it will get available after exam go live. Now, this is the most important slide for the day. Don't forget to get the free certification exam. Everyone will get a free certification exam. You can take it on-site at the testing center in the room W222, or you can register exam at the certification lunch just right next to the testing center. I heard there is some special swag in the certification lunch, so definitely check it out. For more information, you can check out the QR code here or browse to the aka.ms/freeexam_ms-ignite. So I have talked a lot. Now it's your time to take action. Visit the booth. I will be in the solution area for Modern Workplace this afternoon, so talk to me. I want to hear your feedback. And also get the exam scheduled soon. The seating is the limit in the testing center. So we have 2,000 capacity for this week, so hurry up. Yeah, it's like 4 times more compared with last year. So you can see that how people kind of start to feel the certification kind of helping them. So the more people take the beta, the better the exam become. These are the other exam prep session for your reference. So before I close, I want to open the question for you guys. Anyone has any question? Yes. Oh. Here we go. Oh.
Try? Oh,
cool.
Yeah, it's working. Good morning. I'm Philip from Germany. And I did a lot of certifications on EducationX on the MOOC platform. And I'm wondering how is the EducationX aligned with the new Microsoft Learn platform and this new certification, especially with the service adoption specialist from Karua Nagatipo.
So, so there are 2 things. The first one is, education skill, right?
EducationX, the service adoption specialist certification was there only.
Okay, so they are separate. So we have the track that that from Karana that is user adoption specialist, and that is another track for, we call it kind of like management track. And this is a more kind of technical track for Teams admin, which more focus on the technical piece. For the exam, we don't have the luxury to create different exam for different kind of skill. So what we expect is people will have exposure to maxima of the feature. So we will assume that you have the environment for the E5 license. So if you don't have the E5 license in your business, I encourage you to kind of bump up the trial tenants or go to the learning partner to kind of take the IoT. We will have the tenants for you.
And short second question, we can get the beta exam here. Is it available in the test center?
Yes, that's correct. So the beta was launched yesterday, so it will be available in the testing center.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question?
Hi, Vincent from France. Do you plan to have a competency associated to this exam?
Say that again, sorry.
Do you plan to have a competency, for the ISV and the other partners?
You mean for the different language?
No, I think for the partnership.
Yeah.
You mean for the, sorry, repeat your question.
The idea is when you are a partner, you have to have several competencies.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that will be handled by another team. We were kind of discussing about the you said the requirement for the partner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so stay tuned, we'll have more update for that. Because this exam just launched yesterday for the beta. So once it go live, it probably will go into the partner networking requirement.
Second question, regarding the other certification, which is Teams developer, something like that. Just quickly, what is the content of this certification?
You mean what is the other one?
You just, during the beginning of the demonstration, you explained there are 2 different certifications. And the other one is Team for Developer or something like that. Just quickly, what is the content of this certification?
You mean the Microsoft 365 developer?
Yeah, I think number 600.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so the other new certification exam is MS-600 for Microsoft 365 developer. What does that mean is it's Microsoft 365 developer platform. So including identity, graph, and also Office, Teams app, and also SharePoint framework as well. So those are 5 developer platform we'll cover in MS-600. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And you can check out the exam objective for MS-600 on the website as well. So any other question? Yes?
How long should we plan on for the practice exam?
So two things. First, the practice exam is not available until the exam go live. And how to prepare the exam, I would encourage you to get a slide, go through, make sure you're familiar with each page, because these are all the scope of the exam that all the scope of the content we will put in the exam. Yeah. Any other question? Yes.
How does this fit in with the Teamwork Administrator Associate?
Okay, cool. I know this answer will come up. So this is totally different to track. So teamwork is for teamwork. It's more about content collaboration. Team is a unified communication and collaboration. So 2 years ago, teamwork, collaboration, and communication people are two different silos. So collaboration is more, if you say, SharePoint admin, while communication is more about Skype admin. And 2 years ago, we have Teams, which is unified communication and collaboration. And we know there's kind of huge war in the communication and huge war in collaboration for SharePoint as well. But Teams is totally new role, new product. So we kind of leaning forward with this futuristic role. So we want to clarify that this role is not the replacement for teamwork admin. This is totally new. So that's why we have the new series of exam number.
We love that. That's the reason we don't have to learn SharePoint hybrid.
Oh, okay, cool. This is a good, yeah, this is one of the voice that we heard. So we have the Teams now. Yeah. Any other question? Yes.
Will there be the licensing portions on there just regarding the different licensing requirements for Teams and the licensing portion?
So the question is whether they have the licensing question in the exam. So the answer is no. So we don't test the licensing because we know it's kind of changing all the time. So, any other question? No? All right. So please fill up your evaluation. I want to hear your feedback. What is good we can keep and what I need to improve. So thank you for your time. Good luck for your exam and hope you enjoy the exam rest of the week.